education is education with a heart. Without that, you have nothing. But I'm about running out of time, so I'm going to wind it up with telling you briefly about a friend of mine from Florida. Do I have any Florida folk here? Ah, wonderful. You may even know her. I'm going to tell you about the most magnificent teacher, the blue card special you'll ever meet. Blue ribbon, blue plate, blue skies, blue heaven, blue bird. Let me tell you about her and you can help me find this up. I'll wind it up with a story because you've been there. This marvelous teacher was voted Principal of the Year in Florida about 7 years ago. And she told me a story I'll share with you, and some of you heard me tell it. She said when she was a little girl, she had one great dream, and that was to be a ballerina. And her bedroom walls were literally covered with photographs she had lovingly clipped out of magazines and taped to the wall. But genes pulled a cruel hoax. In a way, she kept growing. She was bigger than the boys, bigger than the girls, by third grade gaining on the teacher. A gangly girl. And everyone said, darling, there are lots of things that you can be. But one thing can never be is a ballerina. Ballerinas must be petite, tiny little figurines, and you're a long-stemmed American rose. Today, if you'd meet her, you'd see how lovely she is. She's a minority lady over 6 feet tall, and she has flaming red hair that she wears in a beehive bouffant. She is the world's tallest Annie. She said, there are lots of things you can be, but you can never be a ballerina. So she took her pictures off the wall one by one, but she never gave up the dream, not completely. She grew up and became a teacher like us and then a principal of a school. And she said one day at the age of 43, she was having Sunday dinner with her handsome husband and her 3 teenage daughters. And all of a sudden she heard the big click. Have you ever heard it? The aha moment? All of a sudden she knew she had to dissipate that orange smog. And so she looked at her husband and her 3 teenage daughters. And she said, guess what? I am going to take ballet lessons. Now here's where you help me. Blue team here on this side. Come on, blues. Orange men, orange team. Blues, when I give you the signal, with all the love in your heart, with all the passion you can command, I want you to say, oh, yes, I am. Let's try. Here we go. Oh, yes, I am. Wonderful. Orange, when I give you the signal with all the lethal poison in your system, I want you to hiss. Oh, no, you're not. Okay, here we go. Let's try. Oh, no, you're not. Now, I'll get you, little girl, and your little dog, too. So she said to her husband and her 3 teenage daughters, she said, guess what? I am going to take ballet lessons. And her husband said, oh, no, you're not. And her children said, oh, no, you're not. And she said, oh, yes, I am. And she went to the faculty meeting. Went to the faculty meeting. The firm rule at faculty meetings, happy talk. First 5 minutes, happy talk. And finally came her time for happy talk. And when it came her time, she said, guess what? I am going to take ballet lessons. And all of her colleagues in unison said, oh, no, you're not. And she said, oh, yes, I am. Yeah. And so this 43-year-old, 6-foot-tall, red-headed elementary school principal went down to the dance studio. And up to the ballet master. Have you ever met a ballet master? Plie 1, plie 2. And very hopefully and shyly and unsurely and courageously she said, I would like to take ballet lessons. And to his eternal credit in heaven he said, well, come on in. We don't have a tutu to fit. But we will sew 2 tutus together. We will call them 4x4s. And so day after day, week after week, month after month, when all the other teachers are out doing aerobics and jazzercise and Jane Fondoing, this 43-year-old, 6-foot-tall, red-headed elementary school principal went down to the dance studio and worked out with great love and great joy and great passion and commitment and blue sunshine. And then came the gut check. Do you know what the gut check is? That's when the Lord is going to grab either end of you and bend you mightily. See what he hath wrought. What have I wrought here? A challenge, a test, a hurt, called gut check. Bend you mightily and you will break. We all break. But some of us grow strongest in the broken places. And her gut check was the recital. And her husband said, and her kids said, and all of her colleagues said, and she said, "Oh, yes, I am." I have not marched this far to turn back now. I must risk my life to live it well. Now, the dance studio had rented an auditorium for the evening, and all the proud parents were there. And the program began. And the little 2-year-olds and the 4s and the 6s, the 8s, the 10s, the juniors, the seniors, the advanced. And when all had danced, the house lights fell dim and the spotlight came on. And out of the wings came a 43-year-old, 6-foot-tall, red-headed elementary school principal, and she danced with great courage, great bravery. And later she said, "You know, William, I was the only one the whole evening that got the standing ovation." Blue sunshine, my friends, in a world that is continuously telling you what you're not. The hardest battle that you'll ever have to fight is to say, wait a minute now, wait a minute, I've only just begun. Though much is done, much is left to do. And the theme I gave you today is make your world a blue place and teach your children and boys and girls and student teachers how to do it. And so I'll say again, the old battle cry from the Southwest, you got to dance like there's nobody watching. And you got to love like you'll never be hurt. You got to sing like there's nobody. And you got to live like it's heaven on earth. Have a great conference.
I just have to ask one question. What color has this session been?